It started with a bowl of soup. That's how normal it looked from the outside. Lentil soup. Tuesday night. I remember because the spoon kept clinking against the side of her ceramic bowl. Slow, rhythmic, like a metronome for bad news. She didn't look at me. She didn't even seem to be tasting the food. Just stir, clink, sip. Stir, clink, sip. And then she sighed. Loud. That kind of sigh you hear before someone breaks up with you or tells you they crashed your car. And with zero warning, zero build-up, and definitely zero concern, she said. With him, I finally felt something. No name. No preface. Just him. Like I should have already known. Like this was a group project I missed the memo on. I blinked. Who? She tilted her head like she pitied me. It doesn't matter. I just needed you to know. What exactly did she need me to know? That while I was unclogging the sink on Sunday, she was out there feeling things with someone who wasn't me. That while I was ordering that dumb vintage record player she'd been hinting at, she was busy awakening next to someone who doesn't even load her dishwasher right. I sat in silence for maybe 10 seconds. Then I took a bite of my soup. Hers was better than mine, and I said, Great, have fun. Because what else do you say to someone who treats betrayal like it's a spiritual upgrade? She stared at me like I just kicked a puppy. Like I was the villain for not falling apart. Like my calm made her the victim. And then she cried. I watched her tears fall into her soup, and all I could think was, Don't stir it now. You'll ruin the salt balance. The soup went cold. She didn't eat another bite after I said it. Neither did I, to be honest. The silence was thick, like fog in your lungs. I think she expected some kind of breakdown. A fight. A dramatic outburst so she could feel justified in walking away. But all I gave her was a spoon and a blank stare. She wiped her tears and asked, That's all you're going to say? I nodded. Yeah. What else is there? She stood up slowly, walked her bowl to the sink, and started rinsing it like we were just two roommates cleaning up after dinner. Like she didn't just tell me that she felt something for another man. Like she hadn't detonated a bomb right between us and expected me to sweep up the shrapnel. But here's the part that actually broke me. She looked relieved. Like she was glad I didn't fight for her. Like my calmness gave her permission to leave without guilt. That's when it hit me. She wanted me to rage. She wanted to be the one who walked away from the man who couldn't match her emotional growth, or some crap like that. But I didn't give her the performance she rehearsed for. So she improvised. She slept in the guest room that night. No explanation. No conversation. Just slammed the door like she was punishing me for being indifferent. The next morning, I made coffee like I always do. Hers black, mine with a mountain of cream. She didn't come out. I knocked on the door. No answer. I left the mug outside and went back to work. At around 1 p.m., I heard her laughing. Not a soft laugh, a giggle. I thought maybe she was on a call. I thought maybe she was watching something funny. Until I passed by the door and heard his voice. Muffled, but clear enough. A video call. The audacity. In our house. Less than 24 hours after telling me she emotionally cheated, she was talking to him like they were college sweethearts catching up on old times. And what did I do? I went back to my computer. Answered emails. I even fixed a database bug that had been haunting our department for weeks. My eyes were burning, and I couldn't feel my hands. But I stayed glued to that screen like it was the only thing anchoring me to the planet. Because if I didn't, I was going to knock down that door and scream. That night, she didn't come to bed. Again. But I wasn't surprised. What caught me off guard was the outfit she wore when she finally left the guest room. A dress I'd never seen before. Tight, short, confident. Not her usual style. I didn't ask where she got it. I didn't ask where she was going. I just watched her float across the living room like she was untouchable. She grabbed her keys, paused, and said, Don't wait up. It wasn't a request. It was a declaration. Like she'd already rewritten our relationship without telling me, and I was just the background character left in the rough draft. I still didn't react. I just sat there on the couch, holding a half-empty glass of water, watching the front door close behind her. I remember that moment clearly because the house felt immediately quieter. Not peaceful, just hollow, like the sound got sucked out with her. But I wasn't stupid. I knew exactly who she was meeting. I knew this wasn't a girls' night, or a late yoga class, or whatever excuse she'd probably feed herself to justify it all. I even knew the guy's name now, because, yeah, I checked her phone while she was in the shower the day before. I hadn't planned to. But when I saw the notifications light up and one read, Can't stop thinking about last time, something inside me flipped. His name was Orion. I know. Sounds made up, right? Apparently, they met at a creative retreat she went to last month. You know, the one she said was all about self-discovery and digital detoxing. Turns out the only thing she was unplugging from was our marriage. But here's the thing. I didn't confront her. I didn't text her. I didn't follow her. I just sat there and did something way more pathetic. I made a spreadsheet. Yep, a spreadsheet. I started logging every weird moment from the last 6 months. All the dinners she canceled. All the nights she said she was too tired. The phone calls that suddenly needed to happen outside. The perfume I didn't recognize. The playlist she changed in the car, filled with songs that we never listened to. I listed every red flag I had ignored because I didn't want to believe the truth. And by the time she came back, just after 2 a.m., I had 47 entries. She didn't say a word to me when she walked in. Didn't even look guilty. She just kicked off her shoes, dropped her purse on the table, and walked right past me with the same look people give furniture they're tired of. And that's when I realized something. This wasn't just about a mistake. This wasn't a slip or some emotional confusion. This was intentional. She wasn't torn. She wasn't struggling. She had already chosen him. And now, she was testing how long she could keep both of us. Him for the thrill, me for the stability. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to beg. But I was going to take notes. The next morning, she was humming. Actually humming. Walking around the kitchen barefoot like some girl in a romantic indie movie. Pouring oat milk into her coffee like it was the best morning of her life. I sat at the table with my laptop open, pretending to work, and I could feel the tension humming louder than she was. I wanted to ask her if she even remembered she was married. If she remembered telling me, in those exact words, that, with him, I finally felt something. But I didn't say anything. I wanted to see what she'd do next. Would she confess more? Apologize? Try to justify it with some cliché about how we've grown apart? But no. She just stood there, sipping her coffee, scrolling her phone like everything was perfectly normal. Then she asked me if I wanted to go to her sister's birthday dinner that weekend. Like nothing was broken. Like we were still a couple. I said, "Do you really think I should be there?" She looked confused for half a second, then forced a smile. Of course. We're still figuring things out, right? Right. Except I wasn't figuring anything out. I was documenting. I had already copied her messages with Orion from her cloud backup. I found deleted photos, selfies of the two of them on a hiking trail she told me she went to for space. I recognized the necklace she wore in one picture. I gave it to her on our 3rd anniversary. She said she'd never take it off. Guess she meant unless she was with someone who made her feel something. Later that night, I watched her from the hallway. She was in the bedroom, smiling at her phone, completely unaware I was standing there. She didn't even lock the screen when she heard me cough from the hallway. Just dropped the phone casually and asked if I wanted to watch something. I said no. Instead, I sat in the living room and reread a message I found between her and Orion. It was from 2 weeks ago. She'd written, "He wouldn't understand. Aaron's too soft. Too careful. I need chaos." He replied, "Then let's burn it all down." They were planning it. Not just emotionally. I saw messages about moving to Austin. About starting over. About how I'd be fine eventually. She even wrote, "He's not the type to fight. He'll just vanish." Like I'm a stray cat she's been feeding out of pity and finally decided to stop. That's when I realized this wasn't just infidelity. It was orchestration. Every tear, every silence, every sudden apology, it was all scripted. She wanted to wear me down until I made the decision for her. So she could walk away feeling clean. No guilt. No mess. Just a clean emotional getaway. But here's what she doesn't know. I'm done being soft. I may not yell or break things, but I document. I observe. And I prepare. She wanted chaos. She's about to find out what it actually feels like. By Friday, I had stopped feeling like a husband and started feeling more like a ghost in my own house. She walked past me like I was just another lamp. Something familiar, but completely ignorable. I didn't push. I didn't confront. I just kept watching. Listening. Learning. That evening, she left again. Same dress. Same perfume. Same fake story. This time, she said she was going to a gallery exhibit downtown with some friends. No names. No details. Just a vague explanation wrapped in a smile I no longer recognized. I nodded, told her to enjoy herself, and she kissed me on the cheek. I waited until the front door closed. Gave her 10 minutes. Then I opened the app. Yeah, I installed a tracker on her car. And before anyone judges me, understand this. I had spent months being lied to by someone who smiled in my face. If she was going to erase me from her life, I at least deserved the truth. The dot moved steadily across the city until it stopped at a boutique hotel. Not downtown, not near any gallery, just off the highway. Mid-range, discreet. The kind of place that doesn't ask questions if you check in with a fake name or pay in cash. I stared at the map for a long time, watching the little dot that was her, staying completely still. I didn't drive there. I didn't show up with flowers or rage or accusations. I just screenshotted the map and added it to the folder I'd been building on my laptop, along with the messages, the photos, the deleted voice notes she didn't know were recoverable, the phone records, the credit card charges. I wasn't collecting revenge. I was collecting clarity. She came home at 3:17 a.m. I heard the front door open, heard her heels clack unevenly against the tile like she'd had wine and adrenaline and probably a lie already prepared. I was sitting in the dark on the couch, laptop open, pretending to scroll through news. She jumped when she saw me. "Oh," she said, fake casual. "Didn't know you'd still be up." I said nothing, just looked at her. I could see her trying to read my expression, figure out if she'd slipped, if I knew. But I didn't give her anything. No emotion, no anger, just silence. She asked if I was okay. I smiled and said, "Sure. You?" She hesitated, then nodded, and said, "Yeah, it was just a quiet night." I almost laughed, because in that moment, I realized she still thought she was in control, that she could lie to my face after everything, that she was smarter, one step ahead, a better player. But she wasn't playing against the old me anymore. Saturday morning, she was in the kitchen again, frying eggs like she hadn't come home reeking of cheap cologne and late-night betrayal. She hummed the same tune as before, like her whole life was in perfect harmony. I sat across from her at the island, sipping coffee, pretending I didn't already know she'd spent the night with Orion in a hotel that had hourly rates and no front desk cameras. The hardest part wasn't staying calm. It was pretending to care about anything she said. She rambled about her sister's dinner, about how we should bring a bottle of wine, about how we should take more photos together like we used to, as if this was some small patch in our routine, not a gaping wound she carved with every secret. That afternoon, I visited my lawyer. I didn't schedule anything officially. I just walked in, sat down across from the same man who helped my cousin with a business lawsuit, and said, "I think my wife is preparing to leave me, but she's playing it safe, waiting for me to break first." He leaned back, crossed his arms, and said, "So don't break." We talked for 40 minutes. By the end of it, I had a plan. A clean, legal, quiet plan. No rage. No drama. Just the truth, served like ice water in a courtroom. Back home, I cleared space on my external hard drive and began backing up everything. The phone records, the hidden folders on her iCloud, the messages between her and Orion, including one where she literally said, "I'm trying to push him to leave me so I don't feel guilty." That line hit me harder than anything else. Not because it surprised me, but because it confirmed what I already suspected. She didn't just betray me. She needed me to become the villain in her story. She needed to walk away as the hero, the misunderstood woman who tried to make it work with the emotionally absent husband. Except I wasn't absent. I was right there. Every day, showing up, holding the pieces, swallowing my suspicions. And now I was done pretending. That night, I cooked dinner. Candlelight, real napkins, her favorite pasta. The kind she always said reminded her of our first year together. She looked surprised, maybe even touched. She asked what the occasion was. I just shrugged, told her I was feeling nostalgic. She smiled and said, "This is nice." She had no idea I'd already scheduled the financial disclosure, that I'd already moved half our shared assets into a protected holding account, that I'd recorded her call with Orion that morning, the one where she told him, "He suspects nothing. I'm going to ease out slowly." She thought she was in control, but I was done being the quiet husband with the soft eyes and tired smile. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to cry. I was going to exit quietly, just like she hoped, but not the way she expected. The last Sunday we spent under the same roof, she brought me breakfast in bed. I wish I was joking. Scrambled eggs, toast, a sliced orange, even a little flour in a shot glass. The whole guilty conscience on a tray special. She kissed me on the forehead like I was a dog that didn't know it was being abandoned. I thanked her smiled, and asked her what her plans were for the day. She said she might meet her friend Ava for lunch. Ava, the one I'd spoken to last week, who had no clue Lena was using her name to cover hotel visits. I just nodded and took a bite of toast while she walked out of the room, satisfied with her own performance. That was the moment I realized something deeper than betrayal. She wasn't just cheating. She thought I was stupid, and that was worse than the affair. By noon, she was out with Ava, according to her text. And by 12:17, the tracker had her parked at the same hotel from before. Only this time, I had something else in place, a discreet courier. I had him deliver a printed envelope, thick and heavy, to room 308. Inside were screenshots, time logs, phone records, and a copy of our marriage certificate. I didn't send it to her. I sent it to him, because if she was so determined to burn it all down, I figured I might as well hand her the gasoline. I don't know exactly what happened in that room, but she came home early, way earlier than usual. No humming, no smug entrance, just the soft sound of her keys hitting the counter and the barely audible creak of her footsteps down the hall. She didn't say a word to me. She walked straight into the guest room, locked the door, and stayed there. The next day, she tried to play normal again. Made coffee, asked if I wanted to go for a walk like old times. I told her I had a meeting. She looked disappointed, but not surprised. She must have known by then that something shifted. 2 days later, I got a message from Orion. Just one line. You win. She's yours. I didn't reply. What would I even say? She was never mine, to begin with, not really. I just held the version of her that existed before she decided I wasn't exciting enough. I knew the end was near, and still, she hadn't said anything. No confession, no apology, just an eerie quiet that lingered between us like a countdown. What she didn't know was that the paperwork was already filed, that the process server had a scheduled drop for the next morning, that she was about to find out, in the most official way possible, that I wasn't asking for her to stay. I was telling her to go. She was still in her robe when the doorbell rang. I stayed in the kitchen, sipping coffee as she walked barefoot across the hallway, opened the door, and came face to face with the process server. I didn't need to hear the words. I recognized the envelope. Same manila folder I signed the day before. Same quiet, professional tone. Lena Ray, you've been served. The silence after the door shut was almost sacred. She stood frozen in the living room, holding the envelope like it was radiating heat. Her eyes scanned the return address. She didn't speak, just turned slowly to face me. You're divorcing me, she said. I didn't even flinch. I'm giving you the freedom you already took. She started to cry. Not the pretty kind, not the manipulative kind, the messy, broken down kind. The kind that comes when you realize your parachute is full of holes and you're halfway down. I didn't gloat. I didn't comfort her. I simply walked past her, grabbed my laptop bag, and said, I'll be at my brother's for a few days. Let me know when you want to talk about the logistics. The truth is, I didn't need to talk. I'd already done enough talking in this marriage, and none of it had stopped her from trading trust for thrills. But here's where the story turns. It's been 8 months since that day. The divorce finalized without drama. I kept the house. She didn't want it. Said it had too many ghosts. I painted the walls. Threw out the couch. Even got a dog. A mutt named Pixel who follows me like a shadow and snores like a chainsaw. And me? I feel like I came back from the dead. I sleep better. I laugh more. I learned how to cook properly. I even started hiking, not because I wanted to follow in her footsteps, but because I finally had room in my life to hear my own thoughts. A few weeks ago, I ran into her at the grocery store. She looked tired. Not bad, just hollow. Like someone who finally realized the difference between excitement and stability, and how dangerous it is to confuse the two. She smiled, said I looked good, asked if I was seeing anyone. I just smiled back and said, I'm not looking for chaos. She didn't laugh, just nodded slowly, like she understood, maybe for the first time. So no, I didn't scream. I didn't cheat back. I didn't burn her stuff or post her messages online. I just stepped out of her story and started writing my own. And I like this one a lot better.